DJ, PK, we're joined by Pablo Mastroeni, RSL head coach. Pablo, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Pablo, no one ever really compliments the schedule or says the league did them a solid. People like to complain about that kind of stuff across all sports. But I think the fact that you get to open in Vancouver, since you have to train indoors on turf, which I know you don't love, and you got to play a game on turf, which I'm pretty sure you don't love, and neither do the players, isn't it good that you're at least playing on the turf while you're training on the turf?
There you go, DJ. It's the silver linings. Yeah, it's all about perspective. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. No, it's true. It's true. I think that's a great point. And it's been tough on the turf, obviously. But if there's no better time, because when you're in the middle of the summer, the last thing you want to do is come inside and train on turf to prepare for Vancouver. So it aligns itself beautifully.
I've been a sports fan, I think, literally my whole life. When I came out of the womb, the doctor slapped me on the butt. I was like, okay, I got to go, man. I got to watch a game. I mean, from birth, right? It's really, I'm so one-dimensional. I don't know anything about anything else. And each start of the season, we were joking about spring training baseball games start today. And I'd say, I'm going to go watch the Diamondbacks, blah, 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 blah. And the point is, no matter what season starts, I'm excited for it. Now, I'm wondering from your perspective, this is something you've been doing a long time, not necessarily jitters or butterflies or whatever, but just define your level of excitement with a new season right here before you.
Yeah, no, I think it's a little bit the same way. Obviously I experienced it, having played for the last, I don't know how many years of my life, whether it was a preseason in club soccer or high school or college, playing pros and now coaching, it's the same juices that get fired, and I think more than anything else, PK, it's just being in the arena, it's being in there and, rolling up the sleeves and really getting to work and building. And I think the cool thing from a coaching perspective is that the challenges that we experienced last year, some of them will be replicated, but I think the majority will be new, given that we have a relatively a core group of guys coming back that I think can lead through some of those familiar difficulties. I think some of the ones that we'll experience this year will be new, and as a coach and coaching staff, it's really cool to try to find solutions. Right. And it's solutions, as far as the culture is concerned, solutions, player management, solutions for the tactical adjustments you need to make during games, given the different shapes that different teams will play. So I think, one of the things as a coach that I pride myself on is being a problem solver. And I think that's the beauty of this job, where you go into work and you go in assuming everything's going to turn out, and you walk out of that, you get in your car to go home and you go, I cannot believe the amount of variables that went a certain way that I had no idea were going to happen. And so, I think it's exciting. And then you obviously have a new group of players, and we've brought in quite a few, real quality, experienced players to add to the group. And so, once we get everyone up and going and, the collective on the field, I'm really, really excited for 2026.
You like to solve problems. Apparently you got a few. Apparently Wednesday's practice gave you a whole new training session, gave you a whole new set of problems. And the only people more secretive than NBA coaches it's tied really between the NHL and Major League Soccer. They just really like to stay super vague on injuries. So I know you don't want to go into it, but when people see the starting 11 in Vancouver, they may assume that, you were day drinking, Pablo. I mean, this is going to be a little unusual, but people should know that this is you playing the hand you were dealt.
Yes. I don't consider myself a tinkerer. I play the cards that are dealt and try to do so in the best way to put the team in a position to be successful. And obviously, as you pointed out, there's some injuries midweek, and then we have some visa stuff going on with quite a few of the guys that are still up in the air. And so, again, a lot of variables. But here's an opportunity for a few guys that maybe weren't anticipating getting a good run, and now it's, as a staff, how do we prepare them to make sure that they're playing free, they're playing brave, they're expressing themselves, they're not just filling in, right? It's a wonderful opportunity, and this is how some careers are spawned. And our job as a staff is to make sure everyone's prepared. Everyone knows with the adjustments we've made tactically. Everyone's gotten reps in preseason. And a lot of these guys, ironically, played in a couple of games in Portugal together, just happenstance. And so I feel like these guys are going to be in a position to be able to express themselves, to compete the right way, and hopefully at the end of the day get a great result.
Every season has its twists and turns, ups and downs. It just doesn't matter the sport. It's just the way it is, particularly these longer seasons that you may have, and everybody's got them at the professional level. So there's going to be guys that may be surprised, maybe disappoint. But, in staying with DJ's silver lining, let's just go for the surprise. If you're going to say some players that you're looking to make adjustments, not adjustments, but leaps, improvements, I guess is probably the better word. You got some teenagers, you got some guys in your early 20s. I mean, we know guys like Justin Glad and so forth. We know what we're getting there. But can you just speak to maybe some of the guys who have an opportunity to maybe have a breakout that the fans can watch as we get going into the summer?
Yeah, I think two guys off the top of my head, Aiden Herzakani, who's been at the academy for a few years now and played quite a few minutes with the Monarchs and had his debut into the league last year for I think 45 minutes. Has been really sharp in preseason. He's an attacking, creative style player, a little bit like Diego Luna, where he can create opportunities for his teammates, but he can also score. He's a left-footed player, really smooth and really balanced, and so. Again, I think the attacking positions are always the hardest to acclimate to at the highest level because the speed of the game is exponentially faster. And the games he's played and the competition he's gone up against has been of MLS caliber and has done a really good job. So that's Aiden Herzakani. And the other one is Luka Moisa. And to be honest, he's a player that I had zero expectations heading into preseason. He represented the U.S. in the Under-17 World Cup and plays in the middle of midfield. The one thing I can say about Luka is that he's got sublime awareness and high soccer acumen. And even though he's a bit diminutive and hasn't really grown into his body yet,
he's 17 years old. Who has?
Right, exactly. No, it's incredible. And so, but the fact that he can hang in these games and even be solid in these games to me is a shock because I go back to when I was at Thunderbird High and I was his same size and I'm playing high school games against Greenway and now he's potentially playing against Vancouver, the Western Conference champs. And so these guys, these are the two players that I think can really have breakthrough. And again, the way I'd like to say it is it's not so much this year. Because I don't think it's fair to say that this is going to be their year. But what I'm saying is they have done well enough to step on the field this year, contribute meaningfully. But when that breakout happens, it's in the next year or two, maybe even three. But they're trending in a direction that is really, really good for them at their age.
I always hated the Demons, Pablo, hated them with a passion. And then I go to NAU my first year. I end up best buddies with the guy who was the quarterback at Greenway. Small world.
See how it works?
Yeah. That's the universe, right, Pablo?
That's karma. That's exactly right.
What about Xavier Gozo? Because not only do
he's
you
18, man.
want him to take a leap, you need him to take a leap. What have you seen from him, and how might he be a different player this year than last year?
Oh, DJ, I mean, the growth of Xavier has been incredible. He continues to impress. I remember when he first got to the group last year, as far as 1v1, he was very one-dimensional, where if he played on the right side, he'd take his touch always to the right and end up getting bodied by, a bigger defender. Towards the end of last year, he really spent a lot of time coming onto his left foot. And now defenders are thinking he can go right. If he pushes it past me by right, there's a good chance that I don't have the speed. And now he's cutting onto his left and scored a wonderful goal in a preseason game, cutting into his left from about 20 yards out, which was non-existent at the start of last year. And then he had another great opportunity in our last preseason game, and same type of action. And so now you have a player in the wide areas, who's fast, who's physically elite, but now technically is adding layers and layers to his game. And so for me, he was the best attacking player in preseason, and continues to be one of the most important players for the team. And the other part is that he's flexible. He can play up front. He can play as a wing back. And the one interesting thing about him as a wing back is that when we're in a lower mid-block defending and he gets going, it's really, really difficult for that left back or that left wing back to stay with him because he's just so fast. And so Gozo's a player that I think has, he can be. I got to be careful when I say things like this because it's still early days, but he can be an elite striker not only for Major League Soccer but Major League Soccer and beyond. I think I see him representing the U.S. national team in the next few years because he is the way he commits to his craft and it improves on a daily is tremendous. So a player that I am just so proud of and really the commitment he's made to being the best professional he can be.
You talk about get this thing going, and the funny thing is the game, first game counts as much as the 25th game, and so forth and so on. Mm-hmm. So how do you make sure that the mindset is okay? This is a long season, and there'll be changes and so forth, but these games count.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we definitely want to get out of the gates as best we can. Obviously, everything in context and being that, the group that's going out might be a little bit, there's going to be a lot of debuts on day one. And so my expectations as a coach is nothing changes as far as the way I look at things. And that's really through process. And again, we can't let results validate the work that we're doing because there's times where you play poorly and you get a good result, and there's times you play really, really well and you don't. And the one consistent must be that our processes, the understanding of our tactics and how we implement them, the methodology, all these things that are under our control have to be examined really, really closely. And so we'll get a lot of information from this game. And we'll use this game as a foundational piece for the following game. And the idea is by the end of the season, you should be able to close your eyes and just hear the ball move and move according to where the ball is. And that's really the aim. And obviously, we want to win these games early days. But it's also making sure that we don't put the cart before the horse and understand that what we do Monday through Friday is the most important thing to put us in a position to be successful on Saturday.
You played defensive midfield at a very high level, Pablo, won a championship as a player and played in 2 World Cups. You see the game that way, and I got to say I'm a little surprised. I mean, I get the formation change, but I'm a little surprised because it does seem like you could be pushing a lot of guys forward and leaving yourself open on counterattacks with 3 in the back and the 2 defensive midfielders. You've talked about, hey, one of those guys has got to be giving us some late arriving runs and be an extra attacker when we get into the, get closer to goal. How comfortable are you and how much have you seen with that? Because you've literally come into a post game after like a 3-2 win, and that was wildly entertaining, and I hated every minute of it. And you got a huge laugh with that line, but I know you were telling the truth. It kills you. You would much rather win, a 1-goal game than have 4, 5, 6 goals scored in a game.
Yeah, it's a bit of a conundrum, DJ, and one. Because we're also in entertainment, right?
Yeah.
Fans come to see entertainment. If I don't evolve as an ex-player who played defensive mid into what makes this game great, and for me, when I watch sports, it's really about attacking. I mean, defending, no one really, whatever. It's super important from a coaching perspective. It's super important. But really, if we park the bus, and a little bit like what Minnesota did the last couple of years, I mean, I had anxiety watching that because, again, they were prolific in the counterattack, but the amount of opportunities opponents get because you're playing so close to your own goal starts to become dangerous as well. And so I always feel like you can, one of the things that we talked about internally as a staff is like I want to improve the way we want to play and not change the way we want to play because things aren't going well, right? So how do we improve our rest defense, which is the shape behind the ball, as you point out? We don't want 2 pivots going forward, but we can definitely have 1 if we're organized and we make that a focal point of our practice. And so there's so many components to it. But the other part too is you can convince players to defend if you're also allowing them to attack. It's very difficult to convince a group of 11 players to just sit behind the ball, and then we win the ball. We're just going to send 2 or 3 guys forward. Everyone enjoys the game of soccer when they're in possession of the ball. Yeah. And it's hard to convince the guys up front to work if there's no sugar behind it. So we want to be a dynamic team. We want to have 5 guys minimum in the attack. The 6th guy is one of the pivots, which is an element of surprise, which adds a big question mark in certain moments. But we also want to be cognizant of the fact that we don't want to get broken down in transition. And I think there's a happy medium in that. But the most important thing is I want our guys to be aggressive. I want them to express themselves. I want them to be brave. And I want our fans to be the best 12th man. And the easiest way to do that is to have a lot of attacking action.
Agreed.
Hey, if you don't like defending, the best thing you can do is defend and win the ball back. Then you don't have to defend anymore. If you just jog around and give a half effort, they're going to string 30 passes together. You're going to be defending forever, running from sideline to sideline, giving up corners, and that's no fun. So
hire him, Pablo. Make him be your coach, assistant coach right there, man.
I was going to say, that's right. That's right, Coach DJ.
I'm done with him on radio.
The only truth here is neither one of you want to deal with me. All right, Pablo, you win. You get to go away. You get to go away and concoct whatever lineup. I think we're all looking forward to seeing Cabral as a striker. I think that'll be awesome. So,
not happening.
Hey, you never know. You never know.
Bring him up for that header at the end of the game and win it. That is what you'll do.
There you go.
All right.
That's the only thing he needs left. He's done everything else for us, so might as well give that a go.
Might as well get a game-winning goal on the road in the opener.
I'd give it a gozo before I'd give it that one.
Yeah. There you go.
All right.
You're actually now you should be the coach because that's well said. That's well said.
All right. Now the club is absolutely wrecked. absolutely wrecked.
All right, guys.
All right. Enjoy the trip to Vancouver. We'll watch the opener, see how that goes. You can hear it here on The Zone, and we will talk to you again next week, hopefully, Pablo.
All right, guys. Take care. Thank you.
There's Pablo Mastroeni. The opener's at Vancouver tomorrow night. Apple TV, you can hear it here on The Zone. It's early start 5:30, a little earlier than normal when you're playing on the West Coast.
As I understand that Apple TV, you don't need the extra subscription, right?
They got rid of the double paywall thing this year.
So long as you have covers it.
Yeah, so long as you have Apple TV,
it's good enough.
You're good enough. You don't have to have the MLS Plus
package.
Subscription.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. It used to be called the double paywall, but it's just one now, so it's good to go. And they're home. The home opener is a week away. Seattle will be here next weekend. DJ and PK, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Stay with us. We got a lot to come, including the Jazz at the top of the hour. Stay with us.